Last Tuesday, a 54-year-old woman walked into my office with symptoms she'd been ignoring for months: chronic fatigue, digestive problems, unexplained weight loss. After running tests, we found elevated levels of a compound in her blood that shouldn't be there, a compound linked to DNA damage and increased cancer risk. When I asked about her diet, she said something I hear constantly: "I eat healthy, I meal prep on Sundays, I reheat everything throughout the week." That's when I knew exactly what was happening. The food she was eating wasn't the problem. The way she was reheating it was systematically poisoning her, and she had no idea. If you reheat leftovers, and most people do, you need to hear this, because there are 7 common foods that, when reheated incorrectly, undergo chemical transformations that create compounds your body was never designed to process. Compounds that damage DNA, compounds that trigger inflammatory cascades, compounds that, over years of accumulated exposure, significantly increase your cancer risk. The food industry knows this. The medical establishment knows this, but nobody's telling you because there's no profit in teaching people how to safely handle their own food. Today, I'm going to show you exactly which foods become toxic when reheated, why it happens at the molecular level, and what you can do about it starting tonight. Subscribe to the channel and hit like right now. The meal prep industry, microwave manufacturers, and convenience food brands built billion-dollar empires convincing you that reheating anything, anytime is safe and convenient. They're lying. And this video is proof. Every subscriber weakens their grip on your kitchen. Let's go. Before we get into the specific foods, I need to give you the scientific foundation, because understanding the mechanism is what makes this actionable instead of just scary. When you cook food the first time, you're applying heat to break down proteins, kill bacteria, and make nutrients more bioavailable. That's normal. That's safe. But when you reheat food, especially food that's been sitting in your refrigerator for days, 3 dangerous processes can occur. Process number 1: chemical transformation of naturally occurring compounds into toxic derivatives. Some foods contain compounds that are completely safe when fresh, but when exposed to heat a second or third time, especially after days of refrigeration, those compounds chemically transform into substances that are carcinogenic or mutagenic. Carcinogenic means cancer-causing. Mutagenic means DNA damaging. Process number 2: bacterial toxin production during storage. Some bacteria produce heat-stable toxins. That means even if you reheat the food to temperatures hot enough to kill the bacteria, the toxins they produced while the food sat in your fridge remain active. And those toxins can cause severe illness or long-term damage. Process number 3: lipid peroxidation. When fats and oils are heated, cooled, and reheated, they undergo oxidative degradation. The fatty acid chains break down and form compounds called lipid peroxides and aldehydes. These compounds are directly toxic to your cells and have been linked to cardiovascular disease and cancer. Those 3 processes, chemical transformation, bacterial toxin accumulation, and lipid peroxidation, are what make reheating certain foods dangerous. Now, I'm not going to treat all 7 foods equally, because they're not equally dangerous. I'm going to rank them in 3 tiers based on actual risk level. Red tier: these can kill you or cause immediate severe illness. This is botulism, neurotoxins, life-threatening food poisoning. Orange tier: these create long-term DNA damage and significantly increase cancer risk with repeated exposure. Yellow tier: these cause cumulative cellular damage that builds over years. Let's start with the red tier, the deadly ones. Rice. This one surprises people. Rice seems harmless. It's a staple food for half the planet. But rice carries a specific bacterial risk that most people have never heard of. The bacterium is called Bacillus cereus. It's a spore-forming bacteria that lives in soil and is commonly found on uncooked rice. When you cook rice the first time, you kill the active bacteria, but the spores survive. Spores are like bacterial seeds. They're heat-resistant. When cooked rice sits at room temperature, even for just a few hours, those spores germinate. They become active bacteria again, and they start producing toxins. The toxin produced by Bacillus cereus is called cereulide. And here's the critical part: cereulide is heat-stable. That means when you reheat the rice, even to high temperatures, the toxin remains active. Cereulide causes severe vomiting and diarrhea. In extreme cases, it can cause liver failure. Here's a number you need to know. The CDC estimates 63,000 cases of Bacillus cereus food poisoning annually in the United States. 90% of those cases come from reheated rice. 63,000 people every year from rice. The risk increases dramatically if rice is left at room temperature for more than 1 hour before refrigeration, or if it's stored for more than 1 day before reheating. Here's the safe protocol for rice. Cook only what you'll eat fresh. If you must store rice, refrigerate it within 1 hour of cooking, not 2. And if you reheat it, do it only once, bringing it to at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit throughout, not just on the surface. Frankly, the safest approach is to not reheat rice at all. Use leftover rice cold in rice salads or stir it into cold dishes. Red tier, food number 2, potatoes. Potatoes are a staple. Baked potatoes, mashed potatoes, roasted potatoes, they're everywhere. But improperly stored and reheated potatoes carry a serious risk that most people never think about: botulism. Botulism is caused by a bacterium called Clostridium botulinum. This bacterium thrives in low-oxygen environments. When you wrap a baked potato in aluminum foil and let it cool to room temperature, you create a perfect low-oxygen environment for Clostridium botulinum to grow. The bacteria produce a neurotoxin, one of the most potent toxins known to science. Let me put this in perspective. Botulinum toxin is so deadly that 1 gram, properly dispersed, could kill 1 million people. Even in food poisoning cases, botulism has a mortality rate of 5 to 10%, even with aggressive medical treatment. Symptoms include blurred vision, difficulty swallowing, muscle weakness, and in severe cases, paralysis and respiratory failure leading to death. This isn't theoretical. The CDC has documented multiple botulism outbreaks linked to improperly stored baked potatoes, including several deaths. Here's the safe approach. Never store a baked potato in foil. Remove the foil immediately after cooking. If you're storing potatoes, refrigerate them within 2 hours. If you're reheating potatoes, make sure they reach an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit throughout. And if a potato has been sitting at room temperature for more than 4 hours, throw it out. Your life is worth more than $3 of leftover potato. Red tier, food number 3, cooking oils. This is the one almost nobody talks about, and it's possibly the most dangerous on a cumulative basis. When you cook food in oil, that oil gets hot, very hot. And when oil is heated to high temperatures, the fatty acid chains begin to break down. This process is called lipid peroxidation. During lipid peroxidation, the oil forms compounds called aldehydes and peroxides. These are toxic to your cells. They damage cell membranes. They interfere with DNA repair, and they promote inflammation throughout your body. Now here's the critical part. When you cook food, let it cool, store it in the fridge, and then reheat it in the same oil or fat. You're exposing that oil to a second round of high heat. Each heating cycle accelerates the breakdown. The oil becomes darker, it smells different, and it's producing more and more toxic compounds with every reheat. A 2019 study published in Food Chemistry found that every reheat cycle increases aldehyde compounds by 200 to 300%. By the third reheat, you're eating food cooked in what is essentially a chemical soup of cellular toxins. Studies have linked repeatedly heated oils to increased cancer risk, liver damage, and atherosclerosis, which is the hardening of your arteries. This is why deep fryers in restaurants are supposed to change their oil regularly, but many don't. And when you reheat fried leftovers at home, you're compounding the problem. Here's what you do. If you're reheating food that was cooked in oil, do not reheat it in oil. Use dry heat like an oven or an air fryer. If you're cooking fresh, never reuse cooking oil. Use it once and discard it. And if you're buying fried food from a restaurant, ask when they last changed their oil. If they can't answer, or if it's been more than 3 days, don't eat there. Now let's move to orange tier. These won't kill you immediately, but they're creating DNA damage with every exposure. Orange tier, food number 4, chicken. Chicken is the most commonly reheated protein in American households, and it's one of the most problematic. Here's why. Chicken contains naturally occurring compounds called nitrates and nitrites, which are harmless in small amounts when the meat is fresh. But when chicken is cooked, stored, and then reheated, especially at high temperatures, those nitrates and nitrites can convert into nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are classified by the World Health Organization as probable human carcinogens. They damage DNA, they interfere with cellular repair mechanisms, and they accumulate in your body over time. A 2018 study from the Journal of Food Science found that reheated chicken, particularly when microwaved, contains up to 470% more nitrosamines than freshly cooked chicken. 470%. That's not a small increase. That's a transformation from safe food into a carcinogen factory. Now, here's something your grandmother knew that food science is only now confirming. There's a reason traditional cultures ate leftover chicken cold. Chicken salad, cold chicken sandwiches, shredded chicken in cold wraps. They didn't have the biochemistry, but they knew reheating it made people sick. Here's what you do instead. If you must reheat chicken, do it on the stovetop with added liquid. A pan with a little broth or water covered over medium-low heat. This keeps the temperature lower and more evenly distributed, which reduces nitrosamine formation. Better yet, eat chicken cold. The protein is already cooked. There's no reason it needs to be hot. If you're still watching at the 15-minute mark, you're clearly someone who actually cares about not slowly poisoning yourself. Hit like right now. It takes 1 second and helps this video reach people who are reheating chicken meal prep as we speak. Now let's talk about vegetables. Orange tier, food number 5, spinach and leafy greens. Spinach is one of the healthiest foods you can eat when it's fresh. But when you reheat spinach, especially if it's been sitting for a day or more, a dangerous chemical conversion occurs. Spinach and other leafy greens like kale, chard, and beet greens are naturally high in nitrates. Nitrates themselves are not harmful. In fact, they're converted into nitric oxide in your body, which is beneficial for blood pressure and circulation. But here's the problem. When cooked spinach is stored and then reheated, bacteria present on the leaves convert those nitrates into nitrites. And when nitrites are exposed to heat, particularly high heat like in a microwave, they can further convert into nitrosamines, the same carcinogenic compounds we talked about with chicken. The European Food Safety Authority found that reheated spinach can contain nitrosamine levels up to 10 times higher than freshly cooked spinach. 10 times. The World Health Organization specifically advises against reheating spinach for infants and young children because their bodies are more vulnerable to nitrosamine exposure. If that's the warning for children, why would you assume it's safe for you? Here's what you do. Cook spinach fresh each time. If you have leftovers, eat them cold in a salad or add them to a smoothie the next day. Do not store cooked spinach for more than 24 hours and never, ever reheat it. Your Italian grandmother who yelled at you for putting leftover spinach in the microwave? She was right. She didn't know about nitrosamines, but she knew it made people sick. Listen to your grandmother. Now we get to yellow tier. These cause cumulative damage that builds slowly over years. Yellow tier, food number 6, mushrooms. Mushrooms have a protein structure that's more fragile than most people realize. When you cook mushrooms the first time, their proteins break down in a controlled way. But when you store mushrooms and reheat them, those proteins degrade further, and the degradation byproducts can be toxic. Specifically, mushrooms produce compounds during storage that interfere with digestion and can cause oxidative stress in your gut lining. Oxidative stress means your cells are being damaged by free radicals faster than your body can repair them. There's also a microbial risk. Mushrooms have a high water content and a porous structure, which makes them ideal for bacterial growth during storage. European food safety agencies recommend consuming mushrooms immediately after cooking and advise against reheating them entirely. The solution is simple. Only cook the amount of mushrooms you'll eat fresh. They cook in minutes. There's no reason to meal prep them. Yellow tier, food number 7, eggs. Eggs are protein dense, which makes them vulnerable to oxidative damage during reheating. When you cook eggs the first time, the proteins coagulate in a controlled way. But when you reheat eggs, especially scrambled eggs or omelets, the proteins undergo a secondary oxidation. This creates compounds called protein carbonyls, which are markers of oxidative stress and cellular aging. Studies have shown that reheated eggs have significantly higher levels of lipid peroxides than freshly cooked eggs, particularly if they've been stored for more than 24 hours. These oxidized compounds contribute to inflammation and have been linked to increased cardiovascular risk over time. The solution is straightforward. Cook eggs fresh every time. They cook in minutes. There's no reason to meal prep scrambled eggs for the week. If you must prepare eggs in advance, hard-boil them. Hard-boiled eggs are safer to store and can be eaten cold without reheating. Now here's something that connects all 7 of these foods. Your body's ability to handle oxidative stress, to repair DNA damage, and to neutralize toxins declines with age. After 40, your antioxidant defense systems start to weaken. After 50, they collapse. That means the same reheated chicken that might cause minor digestive upset in a 30-year-old is creating cumulative DNA damage in a 55-year-old. How old are you? Write it in the comments below. Because if you're over 50, your DNA repair mechanisms are running at about 40% of their peak capacity. The nitrosamines that barely register for someone younger are damaging your cells right now. Drop your age. I need to know so I can create future videos calibrated to your exact risk tier. Now let's talk about what you should do instead. Here are the safe reheating guidelines that apply to any food. Guideline 1. Refrigerate leftovers within 1 hour of cooking, not 2. The danger zone for bacterial growth is between 40 and 140 degrees Fahrenheit. The less time food spends in that zone, the safer it is. Most people wait until food cools down before refrigerating it. That's exactly when bacteria are multiplying fastest. Guideline 2. Store food in shallow containers, not deep ones. Deep containers trap heat in the center, which means the food cools slowly. Slow cooling gives bacteria more time to multiply and gives chemical transformations more time to occur. Shallow containers allow the food to cool quickly and evenly. Get the food through the danger zone as fast as possible. Guideline 3. Reheat food only once. Every time you heat, cool, and reheat, you're increasing the risk of chemical transformation and bacterial toxin production. Cook what you'll eat. Store what you must. Reheat it once. After that, throw it out. Guideline 4. Reheat to an internal temperature of at least 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Use a food thermometer. Don't guess. Don't rely on "it feels hot." Check the center of the food, not just the surface. Surface hot, center cold is how people get food poisoning. Guideline 5. When in doubt, throw it out. If food has been in your fridge for more than 3 days, discard it. If it smells off, looks discolored, or has a strange texture, don't take chances. Your health is not worth saving $3 of leftovers. Here's the bigger picture. The average American eats reheated leftovers 4 to 5 times per week. Over a year, that's 200 to 250 exposures to potentially toxic compounds. Over a decade, it's 2,000 to 2,500 exposures. Your body can handle occasional exposure. Your repair systems are designed for that. But chronic, repeated exposure to nitrosamines, bacterial toxins, and lipid peroxides creates cumulative damage that your repair systems can't keep up with. And that's when disease processes start. The food industry doesn't want you thinking about this. Meal prep companies, microwave manufacturers, and convenience food brands have built empires on the idea that you can cook once and eat all week. The meal prep influencers on Instagram showing you how to cook chicken on Sunday and portion it out for 7 days, they're unknowingly running a slow-motion poisoning campaign, and their followers are the test subjects. The medical system doesn't talk about it either. There's no billing code for "taught patient how to store food safely." They'd rather treat your cancer, your inflammatory bowel disease, your cardiovascular problems after they develop. That's where the money is. Remember that 54-year-old woman from the beginning of this video? 6 weeks after I showed her these protocols, we retested her blood. The compound levels dropped by 60%. Her energy came back. Her digestive problems resolved. She's now teaching her entire family. And she sent me a message last week that said, "I can't believe I was doing this to myself for years and nobody told me." That's why this channel exists. Subscribe to the channel, hit like, and share this video with anyone who meal preps or reheats food regularly. You might be saving them from a diagnosis they don't even know is coming. Next video, the 5 foods that actually gain nutrients and safety when stored properly. Foods you should be making in advance. Watch it next. The microwave industry spent billions convincing you their box makes everything safe. It doesn't, and now you know why.